Welcome to Tarot's Landing, a place to explore tarot, old and new, where myth and meaning meet you exactly where you are. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. Not every reading is for everyone. If what comes through today feels like it's speaking your language, welcome, settle in, and take what's yours. And if you feel the message drifting away from you, that's okay too. Let it pass without forcing it, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. As I tune in, I'm getting a very specific atmosphere, a shift of seasons. There's a sense of colour returning, small signs of renewal, sparks of motivation, the urge to begin again. But underneath that brightness, there's also a cooler, steadier current. Truth without decoration. The kind that doesn't shout, just quietly makes it impossible to pretend. So today feels like a crossroads between fresh momentum and hard honesty, a call to move forward, but not with illusions. We'll look at what wants to bloom, what needs to be named, and what's ready to be carried differently. Let's begin. Alright, so this first card coming through is Spring Flowers, and I really like that it's opening the reading because it immediately confirms that sense of renewal we felt at the start. This is a card about colour returning to your life after a long grey stretch. Not necessarily all at once, not in some huge dramatic way, but in these small living signs that something in you is ready to open again. Hope, motivation, tenderness, creativity, connection, whatever has felt dormant is beginning to stir. But the deeper message here is very important. You cannot hoard this season. You cannot over-control it, overthink it, or wait until it feels perfectly safe before you let yourself live it. This card says the blessing comes through circulation, through saying yes, through taking the small step, through letting the good thing move. So for some of you, this is love softening. For others, it's inspiration returning. For others, it's simply the ability to feel like yourself again. The question with this card is, what is trying to bloom in your life right now, and are you willing to let it? Because this feels very much like an opening, a real one. And your job is not to preserve it in theory. Your job is to live it. Okay, and this second card is Frost Lantern. And I have to say, this is exactly that cooler current we were feeling underneath the spring flowers energy. Because where the first card said, yes, something is opening, something is ready to bloom, this card comes in and says, but only if you're willing to see clearly. Not romantically, not wishfully, clearly. Frost Lantern is not a comforting card in the usual sense. It doesn't rush in with rescue energy. It brings truth, witness, and honesty. It says you may be in a moment where you can no longer keep yourself afloat with fantasy, avoidance, or half answers. Something needs to be named for what it is. And I don't actually feel this as cruel. I feel it as clean. For some of you, this is seeing the real state of a relationship. For others, it's recognizing your own exhaustion, your own grief, or the fact that something has already ended energetically, even if it hasn't fully ended on paper. So paired with spring flowers, the message is powerful. Yes, renewal is here, but it has to be rooted in truth. You are not being asked to force warmth. You're being asked to carry clarity. And the question this card leaves you with is, now that you can see it, what are you going to do? Alright, and now this third card is the Knight of Wands, and this is where the reading really starts to move, because after Spring Flowers says something is ready to bloom, and Frost Lantern says you need to see the truth clearly, the Knight of Wands comes in with, okay, so what are you going to do about it? This is action, momentum, courage, appetite, desire. This is not quiet contemplation anymore. This is the part where your spirit wants to get up and go. What I really feel here is that once you stop lying to yourself about what's over, what's real, or what you actually want, you get your energy back fast. For some of you, that looks like making the move, sending the message, taking the trip, starting the project, saying yes to the opportunity. There's a boldness here. But I do want to say the Knight of Wands is powerful because he moves with fire. But fire needs direction. So don't just run because you're restless. Move because you're clear. So the message of this card is you're ready to act, and the universe may be meeting you with speed right now. Just make sure what you're igniting is something you actually want to keep burning. So just to pause and gather the thread of this reading so far, something is opening for you again. There is real renewal here, real colour coming back in. But it's not asking you to dream blindly. It's asking you to be honest first. Spring Flower says, let yourself live what wants to bloom. Frost Lantern says, do it from truth, not fantasy. And the Knight of Wands says, once you're clear, it's time to move. So we've gone from opening to scene to action. And that tells me the next cards are likely going to show us where this is headed, what this momentum is leading toward, and what you need to understand to carry it well. Okay, and this fourth card is Iron Veil. And wow, this is where the reading gets very serious, because after all this energy of renewal, clarity, and movement, Iron Veil comes in and says, now let's talk about the truth you can no longer unsee. This card is about hidden agreements, unspoken rules, the quiet contract you may have been living under without fully admitting it. Fear, habit, loyalty, silence. Whatever has been shaping your choices from underneath the surface, this card pulls it into view. And what I'm hearing very strongly is something has already been decided in your heart, even if you haven't acted on it yet. You may already know what this is. You may already know what you can no longer tolerate, what you can no longer pretend is fine, what dynamic has been held together by what isn't being said. This is not really a prediction card, it's an exposure card. It says the structure is visible now, the pattern is visible now, the cost of staying the same is visible now. So with the Knight of Wands beside it, this becomes, don't just act fast, act honestly. Make sure your next move is not just bold, but clean. Because Iron Veil says once this truth is fully acknowledged, there's no comfortable way to go back to pretending. And now this fifth card is Fallen Banner, and this feels like the outcome, or at least the truth this whole reading has been walking you toward. Because after Spring Flowers opens the heart, Frost Lantern brings clarity, the Knight of Wands brings movement, and Iron Veil exposes the hidden structure. Fallen Banner says, something can no longer be carried just because you've carried it for a long time. This feels like a role, a promise, a version of yourself, or even a relationship dynamic that once meant something real, but no longer matches who you are or what is true now. And I want to be clear, this card is not saying you failed. It's saying the symbol and the substance have drifted apart. You may have been holding up an image of loyalty, responsibility, success, love, while inwardly knowing it doesn't fit the same way anymore. So this card asks a very direct question. What have you been representing that you no longer fully believe in? And what would it mean to either mend it honestly or lay it down? There's a lot of integrity in this card, a lot of release, because sometimes the blessing is not in keeping the banner raised. Sometimes the blessing is in letting it fall so you can stop performing and start living in alignment again. It was a pleasure doing this reading for you. Please subscribe for more readings.